Garcia from period 1, and we are going to be deriving the quadratic formula, which essentially means getting the standard form of a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And we're trying to get that into x equals negative b, which is the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we are going to be completing the square because we cannot use a generic rectangle, or we cannot use the diamond method because we do not have numbers that we can plug into, as like in the diamond method here, there's two numbers that you have to do here that equal the top and the bottom. So, and also it's just another method of completing a square, just with variables and no numbers. So our first step here is going to be to use the additive inverse of positive c minus c to create a zero pair, so they cancel each other out. What you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. So now you get ax squared plus bx blank equals negative c blank. Now, what we're going to do here, as you can see, there's a coefficient, which is a. We are trying to get x squared by itself. So we're going to divide by a across the equation in order to get x squared plus b over a x blank equals negative c over a. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to plug in our binomial formula, which is b over 2 to the power of 2. So we're going to plug it in, and we are going to get, one second here, calm down, Matthew. We are going to get b over 2a parentheses squared. And this is going to turn into b squared over 4a squared. Now, we're going to add this to both sides of the equation, because what you do to one side, you got to do to the other, as we know. So we're going to get x squared plus b over a x plus b squared over 4a squared now equals negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Now, our next step, we can't do anything over here right now, because we can see over here that we gotta make them combine. So we're gonna have to get the same common denominator as we do in fractions. So we're gonna, as you can see here, this is 4a squared, so we're gonna have to times this by 4a by 4a. So this is gonna turn into equals negative c over a times 4a over 4a plus b squared over 4a squared. Now, our next step is we're going to add these together, and we're going to get this side stays the same. So we're going to add these together, and we're going to get this we can turn into, actually, my bad. This we can turn into our binomial, a perfect binomial squared. So we can turn this into parentheses x plus b over 2a parentheses squared now equals b squared, because this combines into b squared minus 4ac, which is all over 4a squared. Now, sorry for my bad writing, but now what we're going to do here is we have the x plus b over 2a equals b squared minus 4ac over 4ac. So we're going to square root both sides of this equation.
What does square rooting do?
Square rooting does here, because as you can see, there is a exponent of 2, right? So we're going to have to get the exponent of 2, and the only way to do that is to square it. So it's the inverse operation of squared. And so now we're going to get x plus b over 2a equals the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4ac.
Put the C.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. And C here as well. So as you can see over here, if you look over in this way, we want to isolate x to get it by itself. So we're getting minus b over 2a onto this side of the equation. So we're going to get x equals negative b.
What are you trying to find in x?
What are we trying to find in x? In x, we're trying to like isolate it by itself because like we can't have x plus or something because it's going to ruin.
What do we solve for in x?
We solve for the solutions. We solve the solutions in x. So we're going to get x equals negative b plus or minus, because we do the plus or minus here, forgot to do that. Plus or minus, because when you square root, you do plus or minus. Because it can be on either sides of the graph, either negative or positive. Square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4ac. Now, what we are going to do here is, what we're going to do here, once I get it up, we're just going to basically combine the denominators. So this is going to turn into our, we're going to combine this, basically. Okay, right, we're having a little bit of difficulties, but we're going to figure this out. We're going to put this 2a over here, we're going to minus that, right? So we're going to get, now we're going to get our quadratic formula, handy dandy quadratic formula, by the way, because it can solve any quadratic equation to get us our roots, or where the parabola hits the x-axis, you know. So we're going to get x equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
You forgot the C again.
Yes, the c here. I'm sorry that I forget the c, just I need to remember to bring that down here. So that is how you derive the quadratic formula. Also a little bit of information. Let's bring this all the way up here. This small part of the quadratic formula, which we use to find the roots, the actual roots, this is called the discriminant. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac.
And what does the discriminant tell us?
The discriminant tells us when the solution, right, whatever the solution is, like say, x is just a variable for a number. So if it is greater than 0, there's 2 real solutions. So it means 2 real solutions if it's greater than 0 because it's going to hit at 2 points on the x-axis. Now, if it is less than 0, so negative, then there's going to be 2 complex or imaginary solutions. So the parabola is not going to hit the x-axis on the graph, but it's still going to be a parabola. Just it's not going to have any solutions. Now, if it's equal to 0, then we're going to have 1 real solution because both of them are going to be the same. There's 1 real solution. And then, thank you for watching my video. This is how you derive the quadratic formula from the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, using completeness squared to get x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Thank you for watching my video, and bye.